Hello and welcome to Reality Check. In less than 60 days from now, we might have a decision on one of the most politically sensitive court cases in India, the Ayodhya dispute. Today, the court set October 18th as the target for completing the arguments. The Chief Justice of India said if necessary, the court may even hear it for one extra hour on Saturdays. Now, this is a breakneck pace for a case which has been mired in India's legal system for the past 80 years. But the Chief Justice, Ranjan Gogoi, seems keen to set the pace. He's heard the case for only about 8 weeks, but already is set to wrap it up. Now, he retires on the 17th of November, which is a Sunday, so the verdict will have to be delivered at the very least on or before the 15th of November. Now, the court is meant to resolve the ownership of the disputed site in Ayodhya. Does it belong to Muslims who claim it as the site of a mosque, the Babri Masjid now demolished, or Hindus who claim it's the birthplace of Lord Ram? If the verdict is in favor of a temple, then the BJP may be one step closer to delivering on another promise, the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. Just remember though that in 2010, the Allahabad High Court had passed a ruling dividing up the land three ways, 1/3 to the Muslims and 2/3 to the Hindus, divided between two Hindu groups. A verdict rejected by all parties and challenged in court. But just to put that in perspective, it took the Allahabad High Court 20 years to hear the matter, poring over thousands of documents. The verdict itself was 8,000 pages long. Now, all that is being compressed into a matter of just 3 months by the Supreme Court. All of that information, all those documents and arguments. And essentially, the courts are hearing arguments by all the three sides. They are rehearsing the same arguments they made before the Allahabad High Court, fast-tracking that before the Supreme Court. What are some of the arguments being made? The Hindu side says the structure before the Babri Masjid was a Hindu religious structure, that Hindus continued worshipping the Ram Janmabhoomi even when there was no temple there. A building was demolished over which a mosque was constructed, and pillars found in the excavation conducted at the site revealed images of Hindu gods. To which the Muslims have countered by saying that there is no dispute on the sacredness of Ram's birthplace, but where in Ayodhya exactly is the question. Also, that the attack on temples in ancient India was for wealth, not for religious hatred, and the pillars in itself do not prove the place was a temple. Now, to further complicate matters, mediation, which the court attempted and which failed, today seem to have got a fresh lease of life, with the mediation committee going before the Supreme Court and saying that some parties want to revive mediation. The court said, look, you can go ahead if you like and carry on with the mediation parallel to our hearings, but that's not going to stop the hearings. The mediation will continue even though a number of important parties in the mediation process have rejected mediation, saying they don't want to go back to mediation. So, there's always a twist in the tale. Aarti Jared, senior journalist, is here with me. Aarti Jared, I mean, this is extraordinary because, as I said, the Allahabad High Court took years, and I'm told there are 1 lakh documents which went into that process and came out with this verdict. Now it's all going to be wrapped up in a matter of 90 days. Is that even possible?
Well, I don't know, so frankly, when the hearings first, before this daily hearings began, if you remember, the court had said that there were all these some 40 trunks of documents which would have to be deciphered, translated, gone through and so on. I don't know what has happened to that process because, I mean, clearly, you can't do that in just 8 weeks, right?
Exactly.
So, and even today, the stand the court has taken, frankly, has confused me as a layperson because while, they've said that they want to wrap it all up by the 18th of October so that they can reserve the judgment, they've also said that, well, if parties want the mediation process to resume, the court has no objection to that.
Right.
So, suppose, I mean, I know that right now people have rejected that, going back to mediation, but suppose it does resume and suppose the mediation process throws up a compromise which is different to what the court is already, then what happens? So, I mean, I frankly am really confused as to where things stand. I just look at Subramaniam Swamy's tweets and he is boasting that by November we'll start
temple construction will already begin. Yes, that's the general buzz amongst those who are part of the pro-temple crowd. But let's see if our panel can try and shed a little more light on what exactly has happened and what this means. So Kartik Chopra here, he's spokesperson of the Nirmohi Akhada, which is one of the Hindu parties in court. And also with us is Mahmood Paracha, senior advocate, Supreme Court, also a member of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Bhaskar Ghosh, BJP leader, is with us, and Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst and a supporter of the Congress. So, Kartik, explain this. 1 lakh documents, 20-year process being compressed into 8 weeks. How is this going to work?
Look, you've stated the facts very clearly, but the issue is that the Honorable Bench has passed certain orders today, vis-a-vis hearings being completed on 18th October, and we have no option but to comply with that. And so,
how is this actually working in court? Like, for example, the Nirmohi Akhada.
The Nirmohi Akhada.
You're just rushing through your
The Nirmohi Akhada initially
presentations?
got about 4¼ days to state its initial arguments. We have been given some more time to place our rebuttals to the arguments that are being put by suit number 5 and suit number 4. And we hope to get the required amount of time that we will be able to effectively use to place our stand in the court.
But you were not in favor of mediation. You were amongst those who said mediation was not working.
Our Akhada
so how is this?
Yeah, our Akhada is a Panchayati Mutt, and all our panches have said that when the mediation committee has on the 2nd of August declared that it has not been successful in mediation,
yes.
Now after 24-25 days of hearings for them to say that they would like to restart mediation, and for the Waqf Board to say that they also felt that there would perhaps be an opportunity to come to a resolution, our panches feel why didn't they state it on the 2nd of August itself?
So if
and why now has the Sunni Waqf Board said that we would like to go for mediation? So while the Honorable Court has said those who desire may go for mediation, our panches have decided not to go for any mediation now. So they feel that it is not an intelligent decision to go for mediation now at this stage, once our lawyers have already placed arguments in court.
But as Aarti's question, how is this going to work? I mean, if the mediation process does go ahead, how can you be mediating in one side and then fighting each other in court on the other?
See, what we have said is that initially, when the mediation started, our lawyers kept asking for direct discussions with the Sunni Waqf Board, which never took place, and this was reported to the Supreme Court.
No, but I'm saying now, how is the two things going to happen in parallel?
We don't know. We don't know as yet. We have no idea how it's going to work.
Okay.
And I think that's best left to the Sunni Waqf Board, who have asked for mediation now, to ask them how would they like it to work. If they feel that they are very close to a resolution, they should place this directly in the Supreme Court in front of the Honorable Constitutional Bench.
Right.
Rather than writing to panels which have ceased to function today.
Mahmood Paracha, what do you make of now the fact that the general take, the fact that the court is now saying they're going to wrap up everything by the middle of October? Do you think that's realistic? And also the fact that it appears that at least on the side of the BJP or broadly on the side of those who want a temple, there's a reading that this fast track means that basically temple is on its way.
See, I want to be very candid. This step of Supreme Court to decide it is very welcome.
Okay.
About the mediation, I want to say that UP Sunni Central Waqf Board is an organization under Yogi government, under section 13 of the Waqf Act. So what they say is of little consequence vis-a-vis Muslim community.
No, but they are the main party fighting for title against
mediation us. They are not owners of the land, sir. That is what I am telling you.
Right.
It is a Waqf land. So let me tell you that the main impediment in any mediation is that Muslim community cannot, under any circumstance, take this blame. Take this blame that there was a mandir there and it was demolished by Muslims, and then a masjid was constructed. If the Hindu community and the RSS is willing to withdraw this allegation, only then can a mediation start.
Okay, I'm on a different point.
That is the first thing. Now, Government of India, I want to tell you, has categorically placed a white paper.
No, I'm on a different point.
White paper before the Honorable Supreme Court after the demolition of Babri Masjid.
Mr. Paracha,
that white paper states certain very facts in a very clear term. Firstly, that there is no evidence of any nature of any structure before 15/8/28.
Can we try
Second,
to check
that between 1528 and 1949, there was a mosque where prayers was held. Lastly,
Mr. Paracha, can you hear
white
me?
paper also says that
Mr. Paracha,
the demolition of Babri Masjid was a very reprehensible act, and Government of India will ensure that status quo maintained, meaning thereby that reconstruction of Babri Masjid will take place.
Okay, Mr. Baracha, I'll come back to you because I don't think you're able to hear me. I'm trying to ask you a question about
this sort of attitude
whether you think that this effectively means that it is going to be a win for the BJP. Bhaskar Ghosh, why is the BJP so happy with today's outcome? Why are people like Subramanian Swamy saying construction is already will start or is already going to start?
See, first of all, it's happy because the stand of BJP was since 1991, Mandir temple in Ayodhya was also the election manifesto, our motives and our promise to the people.
But how are you assuming that it's going in your favor already?
No, it's not our favor. The question is that we want to end the disputes and we wanted, if the court has taken the responsibility, so let court give a verdict.
So you're not necessarily claiming victory already, just because the verdict is being passed.
No. First of all, BJP is in power, and as a governance, we have got an election manifesto. We have got a promise in 1991, and we have lost Karsevaks. We have really haven't. I think biggest stakeholder because we have lost a lot of people on account of this, and the Congress government that time was totally responsible for that.
No, hold on. That is, I'm sorry to say that when you say you've lost Karsevaks, I mean the mosque was demolished. A mosque was demolished. That was a criminal act. There is an ongoing criminal case going on against that. Let us not forget that. Let's keep that in perspective.
No, the Karsevak went there to serve to the temple, and there was no mosque. Number one, there is no evidence that in Babri Masjid, the Babar in Babar Nama was never mentioned. So
okay, that is, I'm saying you can dispute whether it was a mosque or not. But you brought down the structure.
But the way
a criminal act was committed. So that is, let us not diminish the magnitude of that.
The way the government has reacted, the way government has been atrocious, the government has the district administration opened fire and so many deaths. Who will pardon this? Who will answer this question?
Well,
and today
we are now going into the demolition, which is really not the focus today. But you are saying that you're saying that you're happy that a verdict is coming, but you're not necessarily claiming that it is coming in your favor. Okay,
no, it's not our favor. The question is that we will honor the verdict, and I believe personally also I believe the verdict will go in favor whatever BJP stand was since 1991.
Okay, you hope it will. All right, Tehseen Poonawalla, let's assume
until the verdict comes, how will it say?
Okay, Tehseen Poonawalla, let's assume that the verdict does go in the BJP's favor or in the favor of the Mandir, and then soon the Mandir will be delivered. This could then end up becoming another big success of the BJP. You already had Article 370, and now they'll say, look, we've delivered Ram Mandir.
NRC 2.
Srinivasan?
Yes, Tehseen.
Srinivasan, your show is called Reality Check. So let's do a reality check.
Okay.
You have Karthik on your show. This is not a dispute between Mandir and Masjid. This is a civil dispute as of now. So whatever way the dispute comes, if Karthik
culminates
wins it, the
in
land
either
is his.
Mandir or Masjid.
If the Nirmohi Akhada, if the other party wins it, the VHP backed party, may just make my point, it's very important. If the other part wins it, which claims that Ramji was born there, or it's the Sunni Waqf board. Now Karthik may choose to build a mandir or may choose to do something else, but it's a civil dispute, civic dispute. Now let's go to point number 2. Let's assume that it goes in favor of the Nirmohi Akhada.
Right.
So good, he will build a mandir.
Right.
I am ready to go to the mandir and ring the bell there and do the arti. Is the BJP, if the Sunni Waqf board wins it, ready to do sajda there? That's point number 1. Number 2.
No, my question was different.
Very arbitrarily he is talking about.
In fact, his intervening application, please, it is a very important point.
No, but my question.
This is a very, very important point. His intervening application in this matter was rejected by the court. Now, my limited question is, how does the BJP know that that is going in favor of a mandir, A, and if it's going in the favor of a mandir, it's going in favor of Karthik, A, because ultimately he is the one. How is BJP claiming to be landlords of that land?
No, hold on.
The government is a custodian of the land. Government is a custodian of the land.
Government is custodian of land doesn't necessarily mean government then gets to build the temple. That's a different issue. But I'm asking a different question. Tehseen, my question was different, which you haven't answered. That if a mandir gets built, regardless of whether it is built by the BJP or built by the Nirmohi Akhada, isn't it at the end of the day the BJP is going to turn around and say, we've delivered the mandir? And where does that leave the already somewhat beleaguered opposition?
No, 2 quick fact checks.
Yes.
Two quick fact checks. The locks were opened by Rajiv Gandhi on a court order, and Narasimha Rao government had bought an ordinance to build a temple which the BJP stopped. I hope the Congress can propagate that. But a larger and more important
But the Congress
point,
is not.
No, but
that is not
whatever
the Congress
result is,
position now. No,
everyone
the
follows
Congress
it.
can't
But
now
what
turn
to
around
the-
and say
what about the
temple was
criminal
our
action
issue.
of destroying the mosque?
That is a
Okay.
separate case. They're seen
You
being
remember
handled
Kapil
separately.
Sibal
That is a
has
separate
tried
that is
his
a
best
separate
to
case.
defer the
Rajiv
entire
Gandhi-
proceeding.
That is a separate case. The
But
fact
what
of the
about
matter
those who
is,
did
as
a-
Shabiyats of Ram Lalla,
Srinivasan, just
Nirmohi
one line.
That's a
Akhada
separate
has
case.
Give me one line,
always, for the
Srinivasan. I
last
just need one
130
line.
years,
Srinivasan,
done
one line. I
everything
just need
possible
one line, please.
in
I'm out.
court and out of court
Okay,
to
Tehsil,
protect
let
the
me move
interests
on.
of the deity.
Let me move
And
on.
we will continue to do so.
Okay. Let me move on. Let me try to go back to Mr. Paracha. Mr. Paracha, if you can hear me, the question I was asking Mr. Paracha.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, the question I was trying to ask you in the first instance was that do you believe as some in the BJP or pro-Mandir circles believe that the fast tracking of this case means that they have more or less won this battle? That it's now almost inevitable that there will be a temple.
Srinivas Sahab, I can only say this. And the latest example we have in the Chandrayaan, BJP and RSS have an expertise in converting anything politically to their benefit.
Right.
So it is not the question of what the result will be. They have such a well-oiled war machinery available that
Chandrayaan was
either way
not-
Come back to
they
the
can convert it
vote
into
issue
their
today.
No,
Chandrayaan
Mr.
was
Paracha,
not-
one second.
Not commissioned by the BJP or RSS.
No, one second. Mr. Paracha, I'm asking a different question. I'm
No,
saying
but-
is that I'm asking
no,
I'm
Prime
not
Minister
asking
ran
I'm not
there
asking
to
how they
take
will
the
manage
credit.
the
When it
optics.
failed,
I'm not asking how they will manage the optics.
Yeah.
I'm simply asking is it at all, is there any logic or any rationale for them to assume that they are going to win this case because it's moving at a fast pace, or no? There is no rationale.
Logically, absolutely not, because there is no rationale, because they would then say if we lose the case, we will bring in the legislation. That can be the only rationale,
Right.
because it's an open shut case. I can
Right.
say that in 3 lines. It's a waqf land, undisputed. Once a waqf, always a waqf.
Right.
That is settled law of the country.
No, but first to prove it was a waqf
Nirmohi
land,
Akhada
right?
is saying that we have lost
Sir,
the papers.
We haven't finished our arguments, Mr. Paracha.
Okay.
They have been in existence before Babur ever set foot in this country.
Okay.
We have been in existence for the last
This is-
900 years.
This is why
and prayers have
mediation.
been going on since
if
before
you say
that.
mediation,
16 days, we have
really
completed
Let the
our
court, let the court decide whether it was a waqf land or not
I'm
a waqf
not-
land.
I'm
We are
not
not going
even-
to discuss that here.
Before
I'm curious to know how the mediation process actually worked
You
for
can't
all
prove
those
that
weeks.
Babur built it even.
You know, I
Okay,
just
okay.
want to
No
make one
reference.
point.
Okay,
here.
one
Can I-
at a
can I
time,
make
one at a
one
time.
point?
Yes, Aarti, please do make a point.
You know, the fact is, Vasu, I mean, anybody who's been to Ayodhya, and I'm sure you've been there several times, I've been there and so on.
Yes.
What we have today on the site of the demolished mosque is actually a functioning temple.
Right.
You know, I mean, there are idols there, people
Yes.
queue up,
Absolutely.
they go there,
pray.
they pay their
Absolutely.
obeisance,
Yes.
you know, and there are all those
Yes.
little shops along the way where you can buy
Yes.
those, you know, chunnis and sweets and flowers and things
Right.
to offer.
Right.
Now, you know, I mean, what it doesn't have is that grand structure that
Sure,
the Ram
sure.
Janmabhoomi Nyas,
Yes.
you know, had planned to build, right? But it is a functioning temple.
Right.
Now, how, I mean, honestly, whether it's by mediation or by court settlement, I mean, to me, again, as a
Realistically,
lay
yes,
person,
yes.
realistically, how do you shut down that temple
And
and
actually say that now we
no,
will
now
try
the
to
land,
build a mosque, yeah.
there? You know,
But
to
is
me,
there-
it sounds very, very difficult.
Okay. Could there be, Karthik, could the court, I mean, look, there are obviously many options. We don't know what is there before the court. But is there also a possibility that the court could simply say that on the basis of what is called the statute of limitations, that a case or a matter has come before it too late, just reject everyone's petition and say it all goes back to the center? Is that a possibility?
How is that possible when you are saying that it would go to the deity, or you would declare it in favor of the deity? Then
No,
the
I'm saying
possession
it
could only be
rejects
handed over
everybody.
to the Shabiyats.
No, it is rejecting all claims, Muslim claims, Hindu claims, and it says it's simply too late. Is that at all a possibility? I'm asking.
I would not like to comment on that because it's sub judice right now, and there are a lot of discussions on in court
No.
right now.
By that virtue, we can't have this
No,
discussion
I know,
at all. But I'm
this
just saying
on
that is
on
that
dismissal of suits or non-dismissal of suits is something we can't comment on
okay
right now. I can't comment on that.
Is that can I ask you then, can I just ask you that, Mahmood Pracha?
I have a question to ask.
Mahmood Pracha,
Yes,
is that a possibility?
I would like to answer that now.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because it's Waqf land, undoubtedly, because there is a masjid and Sunni Waqf is claiming that.
Right.
And government can only acquire land. Now this is very crucial for secular purposes.
Cannot claim it.
Okay, can I just ask you, Mr. Pracha?
I want to make a point.
One second, I'll come to you.
Mr. Pracha,
No, one
within 16 days we have completed argument, until their argument is going on,
right,
and not a tangible proof have been given to the court,
okay,
and he is claiming that it belongs to.
Okay, once again, but Mr. Pracha, I want to ask you something which Aarti said, which is now beyond simply the realm of law and technicality. Mr. Pracha, allow me, Mr. Pracha,
A or B, both being religious endowments.
One second, Karthik. Mr. Pracha, beyond the technicality of legal ownership, the point Aarti was making, that realistically, given the ground reality of Ayodhya and you know, the disputed site, realistically, is it possible at all to claim that you will now get ownership and build a mosque?
I am saying this consistently, Srinivas Saab, that this is the case which will test whether rule of law, constitution will prevail in India, or rhetoric and numbers will prevail. This is a test for Supreme Court. This is a test of Constitution of India.
Right. Okay.
I am saying this consistently.
Okay.
This is nobody's test. This is one test.
Okay, this is the test. Yes, Tehseen. Tehseen, yes. Yes, Tehseen. Yes.
Srinivasan.
Yes, Tehseen. Yes, Tehseen.
Just one point. Whichever side it goes to,
yes,
will both sides adhere to the judgment A? And whatever the judgment is, there was a structure there, whether disputed, whether mosque, whether not mosque, a structure by the ASI. That structure was demolished. The chief minister went to jail for contempt of court. Will action on that criminal action be taken at the same pace? Why should a criminal action not be acted upon? I agree this is a civil dispute. It must be solved. What about the criminal action?
Yes, what about the criminal action, Bhaskar Ghosh?
That's a separate case, and that's not a
we cannot
What
discuss
about
that
the
case.
criminal action when the Karsevak died over there? What
by
about the
the
firings
government.
and criminal action? That I am demanding here in front of the camera, that the criminal action should be taken against the UPA government, against the Congress, who was ruling party that time, and Mulayam Singh Yadav, who was that time the ruling party in UP.
UPA.
What about
UPA.
that criminal action? Let Mr. Punewala give an answer.
Not UPA. You mean the
No,
UP government at the time?
Yeah, UP government, and UPA was at the center.
UPA. No, in 1992. There was
no, 89. He's talking about 89.
No, UPA is from 2004.
There was no UPA
There
government.
was no UPA. at
No,
the time.
that time the Congress government was there.
But again, Vasu, let's look at the politics of it, because I think ultimately
That's
is
what
what
yes,
it's all about, right? So let's suppose that the judgment verdict is in favor of a mandir, and this whole sort of construction starts, and again there's a little dispute between who's going to build the mandir. Is it going to be the Nirmoya Akhada, or is it going to be the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas, or whatever? I don't know. But
in this current environment, I don't think that dispute is
bona fide party in
the
this.
thing is,
Not even bona fide party. It's very, very clearly in court.
No, the thing is that in the current economic environment in the country, how much is the BJP going to be able to milk the mandir for political gains? Because, yes, I think initially they will be...
Surely.
No, they will try.
Yeah.
And initially there will be this euphoria and so on, like there was over Article 370 and so on, But, economic realities are catching up with people. They're biting. Every day we're hearing bad news about money flowing out of the country, about capital going away.
I agree on the economics. We have single-handedly fought this case for the last 130 years without any help from anybody. The Akhada has sold its lands to fight this case. We understand that as well.
Auto sector, laying off thousands of people.
Mandir versus Mandi. Economy mein mandi ho rahi hai, and you are will you be able to successfully milk the mandir?
In the reality check, the mandir is an issue for last so many years, and mandir is an issue for just 1 quarter. You cannot compare the 1 quarter issue with the issue of last 30 years.
So you are saying that you will
It's 1 quarter.
get the maximum
Yes, only
political-
1 quarter.
No, it's
in
not.
the last
It's for
quarter.
the last,
mileage.
sorry, the
No, it
figures
was
that are
5
coming
points.
out
We have
now
been free
are for
access
the
to
last
our
5
Monday
years.
is
The
It's their
flight of
birthplace for the last
capital, the
10,
flight
15
of
years,
capital
for the last
is
600
over the
years.
last
Come
5
down.
We want to get
years.
out of that
Have you
situation.
seen the flight of
Monday
We are
capital?
confident
last 30
Since
years
of the judgment.
Monday
We are abide by the judgment.
for 1
The
quarter.
Okay, we're out of time. We're out of
outflow,
time.
the
You
capital
cannot
We're out of time. Okay, Bhaskar Ghosh, Aarti.
And the Mandi.
We're out of time. At least I'm glad that the debate began with Mandir but ended on Mandi and on the note of the GDP, because of course that is something we must all return to eventually. But thank you all so much for joining us on Reality Check. That's all the time we have. Good night.